Hi, everybody. Recruiting Animal here on July. I had to close my eyes to picture it, July 20th, 2022. Welcome to the Recruiting Animal Show. I'm the only one here so far. Actually, Ivan's here, but he's become shy. He doesn't like to show his face anymore. So I'm going to start out with a couple of ads for the show. Okay. I got a note from a viewer. She said, "Dear Recruiting Animal, since I started watching the show, whenever I have a problem, I do the same thing as you. I ask myself, what would Richie Rosen do?" I should wait till Rich shows up before I get to that. Okay, I will. Here's how about this? How's this for a promotion for the show? The Recruiting Animal Show features a rough and tumble crew of bold and brash callers who use an aggressive conversational style to help recruiters think critically about their professional beliefs. Is that too strong or too long? We're actually, Ivan, what do you think of that?
It's not the shortest, but it's amazing.
Okay, thank you.
Hi,
Good.
everyone.
Who's here? Oh,
Long
okay.
time no see, guest.
Long time. So, okay, so I'll do some intros now. Sasha, do you have a website that you want to promote? You can say no. Not yet. Okay. Anyway, that's Sasha Tesanovic over in Eastern Europe. Ivan Gulenko, he's in the ether. I'll do his ad. It's Klang, KLANG.SO. Can you imagine that? The guy doesn't even show his face for his ad. Okay, that's okay. He's an IT recruiter in Switzerland who has so much extra time that he's built his own applicant tracking system, and he wants you to go and check it out. And then there's a social media function that I know MarioTheRecruiter.com uses regularly and loves. Klang.so. Did you hear my promotion for the show, Sasha? Did you like that?
No, I haven't.
Okay, I'll say it again. The Recruiting Animal Show features a rough and tumble. Do you know what that means? Rough and tumble?
Of course
okay,
I do.
Well, you didn't know what deer in the headlights meant. The Recruiting Animal Show features a rough and tumble crew of bold and brash callers who use an aggressive conversational style to help recruiters think critically about their professional beliefs. Do you like that?
I love it.
Okay, great.
I love it.
Okay, a past guest of ours, Sarah, she commented, there's the usual discussions about working from home, and this guy came on and he said, oh, if your staff is working from home, it just gives the slackers a chance to slack, okay? They're doing their shopping in the middle of the afternoon on the internet instead of at nighttime, okay? It's bad. It's bad for morale. It's bad for everything. And he gave a whole list of things. And Sarah said, why would a recruiter want to make calls from a company office? In a bullpen, there's no quiet space for calls. And I agree wholeheartedly. I used to work in a bullpen. I couldn't stand all the noise. And I didn't want people overhearing the things that I was saying to the candidates. They might disagree. My boss might not like what I said. So I hated it. Should I say it again? I hated it. I don't think there's any good reason to work in a bullpen. Some people, they like it. They think it gives them energy. Have you ever worked in a bullpen, Sasha?
Nope.
No. What do you think? Would you like to work in a bullpen? You know what a bullpen is?
Of course
I do. It's a big room. And when I was there, everybody was smoking. You can tell how long ago that was.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I didn't like it.
No.
Ivan, have you ever worked in a bullpen? I don't think so.
I know what this is.
It's a big room with all the recruiters in one room, and they've all got their own desk, but they're close to each other, and you can hear the people next to you.
Oh, I worked as a programmer in this setting. It was, I think, not the best.
But that's quiet, isn't it? Programming is quiet.
No, there were people who make phone calls all the time as well, like consultants.
Mm-hmm. Tom Tuna said no one would ever want him in a bullpen because he shouts a lot. Okay. And he's
I
right,
would
that's
agree with that.
Yeah.
I believe him.
Not only that, some people's voices are repulsive, okay? And not to everybody, but they're repulsive to me. I can't stand hearing them. You know, once I actually worked in a taxi dispatch office. I'm going to reveal a bit of my illustrious history. I worked in a taxi, I drove cab as well, and I worked in a taxi dispatch. And one day I was coming in there, Frank was the head dispatcher, and he said to me, I was coming in, I forget the woman's name who worked with us, and he said, you know, if I was married to her, I'd put a pipe to my head. They used to fight all the time. He meant a gun. We don't have guns here in Canada, everybody. It was just an expression, okay? But that's what I meant. Sometimes you can't, I didn't like hearing her either. In fact, she used to get mad because she turned the air conditioning up to like ultra freezing, and I was cold. She claimed she was having menopause and she had to have it that way. And anyway, okay, so
It
okay,
was interesting in any event.
Yeah, it was.
I think that the question is not relevant to the current.
Yes, it is. People want the recruiters to come back to the office. Ivan supports it. In fact, he doesn't do it himself, but he always says people should be working in person together. Don't you, Ivan? Am I right about that?
If you can, then yes.
Oh, you know what? People, listen, everybody, you know what? This is a mistake I always make. I read what people say, and then when I repeat it back to them, or worse, reprint it, they come after me with their knives and their teeth and their fangs showing because they don't like to have it repeated, because then, you know, they know how foolish it is. And so, you know, watch out. In fact, my dad, when I was a little kid, my dad would like telling stories to people. And if I was there, I would say, no, it didn't happen that way. He would go nuts after. He would scold me. I never learned. In fact, you know, when I was already middle-aged, he scolded me for it again. Okay, here's something else. This is, I think Rich endorses this. When you call candidates and clients, stand up and smile. I always found that so pathetic. I put on a phony smile, stand up. You know, there's also these people who say, even if you work by yourself at home, put on a suit and tie. This is crazy. Okay. What do you think, Sasha?
Well, I like this idea. And quite honestly,
you look like you're wearing nothing. I mean, you look beautiful today, but I mean, you got nothing on. Okay, she'll come back later.
I mean, when it comes to dressing, when I work, I always dress like I'm gonna go in the office because otherwise I don't have that feeling that I'm gonna do something or gonna complete something successfully. And this is going back to my early childhood because my father never approved that I eat breakfast in pajamas. So I always had to be dressed up as soon as I wake up.
What was he, a sergeant in the army?
Well, something close to.
A policeman. I'll bet he was, or some kind of martinet or school teacher. You know what? Everybody's seen how Rich, the $1 million man, dresses. He wears a t-shirt, okay?
Well, I always dress like I would work from the office.
Okay, I guess it depends who you are, but I'm going to bet that 99% of recruiters who work out of their home office are wearing shorts, just like I am now, okay? Even in the winter, okay? And okay, what about this? I found this interesting. Gergely, who was once a guest on this show and will never come back. I gave him a hard time. Although he's a great guest, I like him. He said, a company that says, we have no titles here. Sometimes that's how they promote their culture. We have no titles here. Everyone is equal. He said, that's attractive to junior people, but not people with experience. And lots of people jumped on this statement and they said, look, that can't be true. There's got to be a boss. There's got to be managers. All this does is hide the true relationships which are going to become obvious as soon as there's some kind of disagreement. Hey, Ernie, I'll introduce you in a sec. There's some kind of disagreement. These people with no titles and everybody's equal, they'll start laying down the law, and the new hire is going to feel bad. Hey, what happened to equality? Now I'm just a serf, a peasant here, because that's the truth. Okay, this reminds me of the stupidest term in business currently, although it's fading out, servant leader. Okay, it's some boss who likes to portray himself or herself as a servant because they make things work. What bozos. Okay, before we go, I want to say welcome back, Ernie, foodindustryrecruiter.com. You know, he just went on a trip to Mexico, and he showed a picture of himself at a table with all his friends and, I don't know, relatives and his lovely wife. And he wasn't wearing purple. I said, this can't be the same guy, okay? I've never seen him when he wasn't wearing purple, and I've known him for a few years already. I see him almost every week.
I actually have all black. I don't know. It comes out purple. I've got
yeah. Okay. But does anybody else want to comment on that? A company saying we don't have any titles. Is that going to be?
I don't believe in that. I don't believe in that, because eventually someone needs to be responsible for the things that needs to be done. And if there are no titles, I mean, maybe I'm understanding it wrong, but
yeah, you are understanding it wrong. There's no titles, but there is power. There is a secret power structure. They don't have the titles, and maybe they all dress in T-shirts. Somebody's the boss. And when push comes to shove, the boss is going to say, hey, it's me, okay? You follow me?
Yeah, I do, but I don't like it.
Ernie, do you like it?
No, I mean, it's what always happens is that no matter who's at the top, never gets fired. It's always
okay. But do you think that would be an attraction for junior people for a company to say
I don't, because I would look at it like setting the groundwork to go to my next step. So if I'm just a regular employee, but then I become a supervisor, then become a manager. Title is important as to where you go.
You know what? That was in the article I read. That was some people want to know that they've got a career progression, that they're not just everybody the same. I have to say, though, it appeals to me. The idea appeals to me a lot. You know, so
it's appealing, but it's not a selling point. You know, if that's,
you know what, you can still, it's still the democratic spirit. You know, yeah, okay. I've always hated it. If you watch those old movies, I don't know if I've lost my audience already. Yeah, Sasha, anyone tell me if I'm boring. But when I watch those old movies and they've got a servant or somebody working for them, and they call the person Bill, even if Bill's double their age, and he says Mr. So-and-so or Miss So-and-so, I always find that disgusting, degrading. Well, I got to call you by Mr.? You got a name just like me.
You would prefer Master Animal?
No, not Master. And I don't like it. I've gone on tirades here of doctors who want you to call them doctor, and they want to call you by their first name. And it doesn't matter if you're double their age, okay? Doctor, I'm in the guy's office. I'm in a hospital, and I got to call him doctor so I know what his job is? Stupid, okay? Yeah. So that's why it appeals to me, this illusion of equality. In a democratic country, I think it's important. Okay, so there we go. We disagree. Anybody got I feel like I'm wandering today. Does anybody want to talk about something? Sasha, have you had anything happen to you since we last saw you that you want to tell us about?
Yeah, I joined a great network of people over here who are working remotely, and most of them are in IT sector, and I met some great people and found out how people in Serbia are actually working for the companies abroad, and what are the types of sales funnels they're using. So I'm in the process of learning and getting better, but I still need to put myself out there and throw myself in the fire. You still need to learn
how to tell a better story. I mean, you didn't tell us the name of the group. You didn't tell us where you found them.
Well, there is no, okay, so the name of the group is NS Business Talks, and it's happening once a month. It's an in-person or on-site event, okay? So
if you're in Zagreb, or where
well, if you're in Zagreb, you need to come to Novi Sad because the events are happening locally, right?
Okay. We don't have many people from there, okay? I don't want to talk about that, but good for you. I'm glad.
Thank
Ernie,
you.
is there
Thank
something you
you.
want to tell us? that you
Well, the
learned on
good
your
thing
trip?
is that I have, never mind.
Have you had a problem
gonna-
that have you had a problem that you solved that you want to tell us about?
That I solved? No, I'm still inspecting my niche.
Okay.
And
Okay.
I have a question when it comes to niche. Do you think that you need to be passionate about what you're, well, eventually selling?
I don't
Because a
think so. I
recruiter
don't know.
is
Are you
selling.
passionate about the food industry, Ernie?
I'm not passionate about anything, you know.
That's his strength. That's his secret power. No
Yeah,
drama.
I mean, it's when you're talking about being passionate, you know, like if you really like it, you like it. It's good. But, you know, it really is, you got to know what you're talking about. And if you know what you're talking about, then you're good at it. But you could have passion and not know what you're talking about.
Well, here's the thing. No, the thing is, if you're working in the bottle cap industry, bottle caps aren't that interesting, okay, to the average person. But like Ernie says, if you learn a lot about them and you can use that information, it does become interesting. I don't know if that's a passion, but there's a level of interest for almost anything if you learn about it. But
you know, when you look at a niche, you got to also ask yourself, okay, what is exactly a niche? I mean, if I look at the food industry, that's okay, that's a niche. Every job in there, it could be considered in a niche. But then what if I wanted to narrow that down? If I wanted to do just plant managers, quality assurance managers, is those two making it a niche? Or what if I wanted to make it into just a certain regional area?
you're talking crazy talk, Ernie.
No,
Okay,
no,
we
no,
all
no, I'm not
understand that, okay?
I understand what he wants to say, and I could relate to that because I was thinking, I mean, I'm passionate when it comes to sales, when it comes to negotiating, when it comes to recruiting, interviewing candidates, contacting them. However, I wouldn't like working in the industries where I have experience, okay, since that's not something that's driving me, if that makes sense. So
Well, what are you
I-
saying? No, hold on. What are you saying? That even if it's something that I'm not passionate about, I have to find the field interesting, at least to want to get involved. Is that what you're telling us?
yes.
I'm having
No.
to translate for her. Yeah, I understand what you're saying, but you're not saying it like bam. You and Ernie are dragging things out. Okay, Ernie, did you want to finish and get? So I gave you lots of time now to organize your thoughts.
You kind of threw me off, animal. No, no. What really it's about is it's a constantly changing thing. You have your niche. If you
That's
can
not what she asked. She says you have to feel excited about it. Say yes or no.
The answer
You said
is
no right off the bat. You said no.
I
But
know,
you
and
did-
you don't. But I mean, what you can do is develop that excitement, and that excitement comes with experience and knowledge. If you then become the person that recruits techs in this field, then you become that person, and that, I think when you get money, the passion becomes there. Like you look at Rich Rosen, right? He talks about a certain specific type, and that's all he does. But when you go outside of that area, it's a lot more work. So what he's done is he's developed this stream of people that know him, clients and candidates, and he's created this monster job for himself. And that's what I'm saying. That's when you get the passion. When
you're successful, when you narrow it down and you're the go-to guy and you're raking in the money, it becomes exciting.
Right.
Is that what he's saying?
And I think so. And also when you do it for yourself. And isn't that a whole lot of passion if you're making a lot of money and giving it to somebody else? If they're giving you a chunk of that money, then that's a different story.
I think Sasha would agree with that. She just said she's very business oriented. I love negotiating. Most people don't like negotiating. What do you like about it, Sasha?
Well, the excitement that the outcome is not predictable. You never know. You don't know how the other side is going to react to your conditions, right?
And
To
you're
what
not
you
afraid
have
of
to
losing.
offer.
Most people are afraid of making a mistake and losing in that negotiation.
But you learn with mistakes. You learn with mistakes. You're getting better with mistakes.
So you're not afraid. You're not afraid of losing or making a mistake.
No.
Great. Ernie, do you negotiate with people?
I tell them what my criteria is. And
That's
if they
not
don't like it, I
negotiating.
walk
Okay.
away.
Yeah. Okay. He's ready to walk away. Okay.
You know,
What about?
I mean, let's put it this way. If somebody, I ask for 25%, I'll make 25%. If they want 20, I tell them no. If they don't change, then I say, thank you, bye.
But what about, but someone like you mentioned, Rich, super Rich, he'll say, well, look, if you want, remember, what does he say? He's building new things. If you want a guarantee, I'll charge you more, or no guarantee, I'll charge you less. There are elements you can barter for.
But you look at all that stuff he's doing, it's all in his favor. None of that stuff is in the favor of the company. It's like, I'll give you no guarantee. That's my program now.
Yeah, my point was different. You're pretty black, and what you're saying, it's actually good for me. You're black and white. Look, this is what I charge. I'm not negotiating. But I'm saying some people, they'll find they don't want to take a hit. They're not losing, but they will find elements to negotiate. They'll look in it.
And if I understand Rich's program, say like in guarantees, right? There's no guarantee.
That's new.
But if you want a 30-day guarantee, then my fee jumps up to
5%. Yeah,
5%, then 5%. So that's all in his favor.
Uh-huh.
But he's very clever in how he words it.
Okay, but he does negotiate. That was the point, that there's always a way to negotiate, even though it's simpler just to walk away.
Yeah, I mean, it is if you want to complicate it, if you want to do it that way, yeah.
But you know what's interesting? It's just that she's a young person. I'm sorry to keep mentioning that, okay? But she's a young person, and she's ready for a fight. I mean, that's the impression I get from her. She's not afraid to fight. This is what I want. Yeah. What do you think about what Ernie said? Take it or leave it. That's not you're not a take it or leave a girl, are you?
Well, it depends. It depends. If somebody is not my cup of tea, then I'm going to leave it.
Oh, okay. Somebody. That's Ivan's philosophy as well. If you don't like that person, walk away. Same as Rich. Okay. What about this? I have a friend I mentioned. He's sending me a lot of, he found out about the show. He keeps sending me these career articles, which I never really read before. And this one made me say, is ass kissing during interviews good? Okay. And here's an example. The article said, when you get, after the first interview, you get to some of the more senior people, you say, I've heard so much about you from previous interviews, so it's great to meet you in person. Great. I don't know. I would never say anything like that. Is ass kissing, telling someone how great it is to meet them, is that good? For a candidate?
Are you doing it for the sake of a client, or are you doing it for the sake of a candidate?
A candidate. No. Would you tell your candidate to say that to someone who's interviewing her? It's so great to meet you. I've heard a lot about you. Stuff like that.
When you're telling a candidate.
Yeah, you're coaching the candidate. This was a career advisor telling people, job hunters, hey, when you go in there, tell them, oh, it's so great to meet you. I heard about you, blah, blah, blah. Mind you, if I read a half a dozen articles about the company and they kept talking about this person, maybe it needs a little context to sound right. Yeah, hell, I read these articles about you. It's nice to meet you in person. You come to life off the page. That's kind of real for me. Sasha, you want to comment?
No, I don't want to, because I would never give an advice.
You're not an ass kisser? Okay.
No.
What about you, Ivan? I don't think Ivan's an ass kisser. Ivan, do you want to comment? No? Okay. He's vacuuming his house while he listens to.
Well, I've heard a lot about you, and I don't want to say thank you for allowing me on the show. And
I was looking forward in participating.
That's what you wanted to hear.
You heard a lot about you. It's all bad. It's all bad.
You can, Sasha, you blew it. You had your chance.
I read about you in some articles before I came to the company. I read about you on Glassdoor, and I don't know if I don't think they should have said those. I don't think they should have said those terrible things about you. It can't be true.
It doesn't sound right. But but even when you get in that situation though, I mean, you got to tell the candidate they're interviewing the company's interviewing you. It's a two-way street.
Sometimes it is. If we recruit somebody who's not looking for a job and in fact tempt them to go out, I mean, then they're interviewing the company. But for somebody who really wants a job, the company's interviewing them. I think the power is on the company side. I don't think it's.
But I think you always got to tell them that because it calms them down. You take it away from an interview. There's certain words that get people all nervous. Like you're going to an interview. No, you're going into a conversation, and you're going to learn about the company, and they're going to learn about you. And at the end of the day, you're going to decide: do I want to work for you? Do you want to work? You want me to work for you? But first, they got to fall in love with you. And if they do, then great, you got a shot. If they don't fall in love with you, you're back where you're staying where you're at.
I think, okay, moving on. Next question. Anybody else want to talk about that? Excuse me.
I remembered of a great meme on internet, and I believe I saved it somewhere, which can help nervous candidates calm themselves down. However, I need to find it, and I'm going to share it in chat.
Okay, and is it medical?
Take a pill?
Yeah. I read
just
that some
one
people
of
take
the-
beta blockers to calm down.
So one of them, okay, one tip that I heard, and this is, I read it somewhere on the internet, is that if you're nervous when you're talking with somebody, just picture them naked.
Yeah,
And
doesn't work.
Yeah, and the other thing, and I just found this picture that I wanted to share with you. It's a meme. I'm gonna send it in chat.
Okay, fine. Okay, I'm moving on. Companies are getting serious. This was posted today on my Facebook group. A recruiter said, almost all of my clients are putting money up front on their searches to make sure that they're at the top of the heap. And the clients who said at first that we were too expensive are calling us back and signing up and paying. And that was in response to something Ivan said. He said, if they're not willing to pay what you're asking, then you're not presenting your service properly. And this woman said, they're so eager to pay now, they're giving us money to make sure we work their searches because they're learning that the market is so hot that they have to buy us off.
So they're paying an engagement fee, rather.
Yeah, they're paying an engagement fee. Usually everybody's saying, how can I get some money in advance so I don't have working for nothing, right? And apparently she claims that that they're hot to trot. And if they back off at first, they soon learn their lesson and come running back. Ivan, do you want to comment? It was in response to you. Okay, you know what? It's hard for me. I don't know. Is he still with us or not? I can't tell. Sasha, did you want to?
Even when his picture's on, we don't know if he's still with us.
Well, I know he usually does some other kind of work, which is fine. Yeah, I have to wake him up when I want to talk to him. Okay. Okay.
But
what about this? A client said, the guy said,
when you're talking about engagement, though, it's like the question really becomes from the recruiter: do you want to be a contingency recruiter? Do you want to engage? Do you want to be retained? I personally do not like retained, and because I feel like you owe them. They own you after that point. They pay you money, they own you.
I agree.
And I like contingency because I can walk away. We have an argument, we have a discussion. I haven't given them anybody. They haven't paid me any money. There's no guarantee, even with a retained or an engaged, that you're the only recruiter working it, or that they're going to do an internal search.
Okay, no, there's more likelihood that if they've given you $5,000 up front, you're the only one. Okay, don't you think so? They don't like spreading around the money. They're not going to hire five different recruiters and give them 5,000 or 10,000 each.
They may give you 5,000, but that doesn't mean that you're the only recruiter, because the other recruiter may be contingent, or the other recruiter may give them a call and say, I got somebody for you. Or there may be an internal that applied.
Okay, so then if the internal gets hired or the other recruiter brings in a candidate they want, at least you got $5,000 or $10,000. That's the point. You don't end up working for nothing. That's the point.
You either got $5,000 or you got $5,000 that you're going to put on their next search. And you
no, No, it depends. That's not transferable. That's for this search.
Sometimes that happens, and sometimes they tell you that.
Okay, that's a bad negotiation. Sasha, do you know what we're talking about?
I just sent, no, I wasn't listening. I'm sorry. I just sent a meme.
That was
It's
so,
okay. But
yeah.
it's an opportunity. She wants to start her own recruiting firm, everybody. She's working for somebody else right now. And that's something, that's good advice. I mean, about there's these recruiters are always talking about how can I get a retained fee? How can I get them to pay me something in advance? And the logic there is you figure that if they don't hire you, anybody in the end, you still keep their money. Okay. Ernie's saying, no, if they don't hire somebody from you, you have to transfer it to a future placement. I don't think so. That's a bad negotiation. And if in a bad economy, yeah, you might have to go for that, but don't do it. Okay. Say, look, I'm taking your 5,000 or 10,000 up front. If you hire somebody internally, or like Ernie said, from some other recruiter, that's not coming back to you. That's not refundable. Okay. I just wanted you to know that. Okay.
I think that's a BS. I know that goes in the favor of recruiters, but I mean, I wouldn't agree with that type of policy. Just recently, we contacted an agency to help us with our hiring efforts, hiring needs, right? And we, over the weekend, we had a great number of applicants and managed to fill 2 positions ourselves. So we ditched the agency. And I mean, what would happen if we would give them money up front? I mean, the company would lose money for nothing.
Yeah, first of all, you'd only give them money up front if you had trouble finding people on your own. Okay, I don't know why you engaged them in the first place if it was so easy. The people were rushing to you. That's some story you told us. Okay.
Look at the meme that I sent.
I can't. I'm running the show.
Well,
I'm running it off the rails already. I can't look at your stuff at the same time.
Why not? Just look at it.
I'm not good at it.
Relevant.
I can't do 2 things at the same time. Okay. I can't. You know what's that? Pat your stomach and rub your head. I can't do that. I want to talk about this. I've never heard about it before. The recruiter said, I have a client who wants to pay extra if the placements occur faster. He said, I was thinking of asking for an extra 5% if they hired within 5 weeks. And Tom Tuna gave an interesting reply. He said, forget about it. He said, tell them they control the hiring process once you submit someone, and you just want them to pay the fee on time. It's not in your control how fast the process goes. I thought that was interesting. Anybody got some input on that? No?
Tom's a corporate recruiter, is he not?
Kind of, yeah, hybrid, but yeah, we'll say he's a corporate recruiter. He wouldn't like to see that expression on you, Ernie.
Well, I just think corporate recruiting is different. It's different, okay. and their experience is different. And I think if you talk to other people that have done agency recruiting, especially if they are solo, it's a whole different world. And I don't think they're the same. It's okay. and corporate recruiters get.
What about that 5% for extra speed? Would you take it, or would you put some conditions on it? What would you say back to them?
I would tell them this is my fee.
Okay, so you would do the same thing after you diss Tom. You're saying I would do the same thing as him. I'm not gonna jump for you like a little dog.
I see it for different reasons. I see it from experience. Tom says it from a corporate standpoint where he's getting $1. He's getting a regular paycheck.
Okay, I'm moving on. Okay. Okay, here's Ivan. I see he's still with us because he's passing notes over to Sasha here. Because he's got lots of time to look at her pictures. Okay.
No, you can't see.
Okay.
Sasha, you can't open it.
Oh, okay. He's only an IT guy. Okay.
Ernie, would you be as kind as to check if it can be opened?
I did try to open it. And it wouldn't open. So
I should set it up so you guys could put up pictures and everybody could at will, and you can
copy and paste it on there.
I did.
No, you gave us a file to open up.
Can you believe these guys are talking, how they should do this stuff in the middle of a show? Okay, let me move on. Okay, this is from Ivan. It's how to deal with rude people. He said, if you reply, the nonsense will continue. Okay, that's one take on it. Someone else posted a quote from Jack Kerouac. Do you know who Jack Kerouac was, Sasha? I'll bet $1 million you don't. Okay.
No.
Ernie does, right? Ernie does. Jack Kerouac?
Jack,
No.
give a whack.
No.
Give a dog a bone. I don't know. No.
He's the most famous beatnik author in
Really?
the 1950s. Jack Kerouac. Yeah. Anyway, he said, practice kindness all day to everybody, and you will realize you're already in heaven. Okay. You know, he died a drunk at age 49. That's Lenny Bruce. Okay. Same era.
How to talk dirty and influence people. There you go.
Okay. Thanks. I don't think Lenny was that funny, but I didn't see him back then. Okay. But here's my point. So Jack Kerouac is saying, if you're talking to someone who's treating you like, they're a real jerk. Okay. You don't simply restrain yourself like Ivan says, which is within human capacity. You switch to feeling friendly in the face of abuse. Does anybody do that?
What are they saying to you? What are they doing that's annoying you?
Oh, well, even our good friend Donna, who's you missed it. She's on her way out of these. She's going back to teaching.
Yeah.
Okay, she said, sometimes people will get mad at her for bugging them when she makes a cold call. So Jack Kerouac is saying that you should feel kindness towards these people, and that's going to help you get through your day. You're going to be happy all the time. Recruiters have to know how to deal with friction, okay? Because I talk to this. I see recruiters posting all the time. They call people up, and then people yell at them. How dare you? I've had it happen to me, especially with IT people, because they're in an office with other people and they're introverts and say, "How'd you get my number?" Like I'm a predator, a sexual predator. Okay.
Yeah, no, that's true. You don't need to get all excited about it. You just tell them, you can hang up. That's the whole thing. If they start yelling at you and screaming at you, just hang up. And then just put on your database, this guy's crazy. That lady's crazy.
Okay.
You don't have to get all excited.
Okay, fine. What about this? Anybody? It's okay. Anybody? Ivan, do you have an example? I know you're still there. You're passing notes. Okay. Is there something you'd like to tell us? A story that prompted you to think about that? No. Okay.
Yeah, but like crazy people, I mean, not crazy, but like you can tell, like, okay, now, like, if I, like, just, it should be now, like, a little bit of silence. And this is the best treatment for this relationship. So sometimes this is the correct.
Where's your face? We can't see your face.
He doesn't want to show it. Okay. He's a real person. Okay. But when you, Ivan,
I didn't shave.
So what? I don't care. Well, okay, do you stay on the phone with them, or do you hang up and be silent, or do you hang up like Ernie advised?
No, this hanging up, I think this is like super bad vibe. I mean, you just end the conversation in a polite way as fast as possible.
Oh, you end it. Because I thought what you just said was kind of interesting. You just go silent, like a psychiatrist.
No, silent. If it's text, I was referring. If it's text, then you don't need to reply.
Okay. It's a whole different ball game. Yeah.
I usually say, okay, sorry for bothering you. Thank you. Bye.
Okay. I just want to tell everybody, we've got the 10 short recruiting rules, and that's Ernie's rule is no drama. If you're upset about something, move on to the next call. That's his rule, the Ernie rule. Okay. Because Sasha, I'm not going to keep asking for people to contribute. If you want to say something, you're bold enough to okay, feel free. No. Okay. Or if you have a critique and you say, an animal, this is driving me crazy, you're so boring today, feel free. I need that kind of feedback. Okay.
Or if you want to compliment him, you feel free to compliment him.
I don't like compliments. Okay. Enough like, you know what, Ernie, I started reading a compliment and then I was saving it for Rich, but he's not coming. So I'll read it. Dear Recruiting Animals, since I started watching the show, whenever I have a problem, I do the same thing as you. I ask myself, what would Richie Rosen do? And I've watched the show enough that I can hear him telling me what he would do. So I want to thank the animal. I want to thank the animal crew for all of the culture ads they bring to our little world. Culture adds was something we discussed, I think, a week or two ago. Okay.
No,
And-
listen, I would say listening to Rich, you learn a lot.
Mhm.
And that's kind of neat because, but I also think that coming on the show, Rich has become one of my friends now, not just an observer, not somebody I could pick up, get a
Yeah,
message.
you can. I
Rich,
mean,
call me
really,
back.
I don't know why more people don't come on. I like here's because I've told like Sasha is way far away in the other side of the world, and yet if she wanted to, she knows a bunch of people now that you met on the show, and it's very nice.
And I would also say people pay money to go to these seminars. Here you got this guy that's a genius, and he's doing his shit and he's doing his world. And you can just ask him a question and he's like the happiest and nicest guy that would answer it for you.
Well, how come Michael G. Cox isn't coming on anymore? I know his wife is sick, but you got him some car. You got him a connection.
Oh, you're talking about Michael G. Cox? Well,
Michael G. Cox, yeah. Doesn't he have lunchtime free anymore or what?
He's struggling with it, the family, the kids. He's got 3 kids and the whole world is, his wife just went into the hospital for about, I think it was 9 days, came out recently, just different things that are happening. And
because I miss him. I miss Michael G. Cox.
Yeah, no, and he's hanging in there. They're doing well, but they still got a journey.
Okay, we talked about this. Stand up. Oh yeah, I backed up to read that to you. And okay, you know what? Here's somebody asked, why won't recruiters tell candidates the salaries up front? And this guy gave a good explanation. He said, because if I tell you it's up to $150,000, the company might only be comfortable paying you $135,000, and then you're going to feel undervalued and disrespected, even though you're only making 95 with a lousy manager in a dying company. Okay, I thought that's true. I thought that's true.
It has to do with your approach and how you start the conversation. And really, what happens is you can go in there and try to sell the job and all this, but you got to quickly turn it to, let's talk about you. And what you do is you start asking them questions like, why? What are you currently doing? Why are you looking to leave a company? But let me ask you this, most importantly, if you were to get another job, what are your salary expectations? Now they will tell you not their salary, but what they're expecting. If that's within the realm, then you tell them.
No. Okay, so let me just get this. What are you saying, Ernie? So I'm happy to learn from you, not just Rich, okay? If somebody comes on and you get them on the phone, you say, Ernie, the first thing he says is, Ernie, what are they paying? What's the compensation? You say, I want to talk about you. I don't want to talk about the money. Is that what you do? Do you deflect that? Yes or no?
I do. No, I do. I tell them, I go, look, before we talk about this job, and I'm going to tell you every goddamn thing about the job because you're yelling at me right now, but I'll tell you all about the job. But before we do that, let's talk about you and let's see what the heck you want. Are you willing to do that? And they go, yeah, okay, first, what's your job title? What are you doing right now? Where are you at? Where are you living? Are you renting or are you not? Good. I'm going to ask you all these questions because I need to know this information to see if this job is a fit for you. And then you ask them, what are your salary expectations? And then they'll tell you.
No, if there was a follow-up here. What if you actually tell the person says, why can't you tell me the comp? And you give them the full comp. They're paying up, 100 to 150, depends on the person's experience. What are your salary expectations? They say, I'm not saying, okay, because they don't want to get lowballed. What if they won't give you their salary expectations?
If they won't give me your salary expectations, then I can't help you. It's simple as that.
And then the guy says, Ernie, you called me. I'm not looking for help.
Then good. Then let's move on.
So you're like Mr. Walk Away. That's what I'm gathering from everything you've said in the show today.
I'm looking to work with people that want to work with me. I ain't got time for bullshit. So if I'm gonna fight with you, there was a thing I read about somebody saying this candidate's gonna be a high maintenance. You don't want high maintenance candidates. You don't want those kind of people going out. So you want to tell them this is what it is, and let's talk about it. You're asking me what the salary range is. Okay, I'll tell you it's 110 to 120. And then they go, well, I'm looking at 135. I go, we can work that out. But you don't give them the whole salary range. Just like I never talk to them about bonuses. They go, what are bonuses? I go, look, bonuses don't matter. They'll tell you the bonus program, whether they pay out or not is up to the company. And I've had bonuses where I've worked in a company that they told me in the month before bonuses were paid out that we're not giving out bonuses this week or this year because such and such happened, the CFO messed up, you know, and you get no bonus. So let's talk to the facts. Let's talk to salary, base pay. That's all that matters. Bonuses are just a big plus. But what I'm saying is when you're talking to a candidate, you got to be in control. If you're not in control and that candidate can badmouth you and talk to you, then you gotta think about whether or not you want to deal with this person, and then you got to talk back the same way.
Well, we've had a guy used to be a regular on the show. I won't mention his name because he gets mad when I quote him, but he said he's made millions of dollars walking away, and that's what you're saying as well, Ernie. You're willing to just walk away. You know, this is how I work. This is what the money is. Yeah, you know, if you don't want to play ball with me, okay, maybe we'll speak another time. Whether it's the potential client or potential candidate, Ernie's no drama, no fight. Okay.
And it is with this job only. Okay. We're talking about this position. I'm going to talk to you tomorrow, the week after, a month later. You may be a totally different person. And I've done that with a recent candidate where there's a guy that I've known. Last time I talked to him was 2 years ago. I hated his guts. He was rude. He was just a jerk. He came up again. I called him. It was a different guy. Same person, different personality. It just depends on what's happening in their day, in their life at that moment. And you can't get stuck in that.
Okay. But am I clear in understanding that you don't negotiate like, you know, if somebody says, yeah, well, I don't want to give you the salary. You were saying that's a difficult candidate, high maintenance. That's not necessarily high maintenance. Some people just think it's good business. It's good business.
I'm not looking at what they're saying. It's how they're saying it. If they're coming at me like a mad dog, then that's a different story. If they're coming at me with
you just added that. What if they're not coming? Just so Ernie, I don't want to give you a figure. I want to see what the job involves clearly before I start putting any figures on the table.
And I can tell you what that is, and that'll come with a discussion. Now I'm going to tell you one thing. When you look at, I need to know a number when I present you that they're going to say you're within that realm. I can't really tell you what the job's going to entail because that's going to be part of between you and the company. Now, if at that point you talk to them and I've told them 115, but you've evaluated it and you decide it's 135, then it's up to the company to decide whether they want to go with you. But your job in the meantime is make them fall in love with you. Let them know that you have that experience and let them know that you're the person they want and that they're willing to pay that kind of money for you.
So you would, if the guy said 135 and you quoted him 120, you will negotiate with him. You will try to persuade him or her to go out.
I will tell them, I will present you at 135. They're looking at 120, but I think you're worth presenting. Do you want to go with that, or do you want me to lower it to 120? It's up to you, because they may come back and tell me they don't want to talk to you, and they've done that, and they may say we're willing to go up a little higher. It's up to you. You tell me, Mr. Candidate, Miss Candidate, what you want to do. It's your call.
I got a follow-up question before I forget. So you mentioned high maintenance. I was just thinking about that this morning. They've got this term brilliant jerk. Okay. So you don't really like the person, you know, but you can see they've got fantastic experience, and she or he sounds very sharp and knows all about this position. You feel they have something that they could really contribute to the company, but you have a sense that this person's got a personality difficulty. Would you go back to your client and say exactly what I said? This person's great on paper. You might have emotional difficulties. Is that what you would say? How would you put it exactly?
Look, I talked to this person, and I don't know if he may be a right fit for the company, but that's your call. I want you to know that I think he can contribute to the company, but I think he can be a little difficult. So would you like to schedule an appointment with him and talk to him? And then you figure it out. Now, some companies will accept that, but I have found that in the long run, that when people do that and you make exceptions for one candidate, it may ruin the whole culture of the company and what they're trying to do. But you want your hiring manager, you want your HR manager to know up front what they're getting into. Because what you don't want is you don't want the company to come back and say, what the hell did you give us, Ernie? And you go, nope, I told you. You're the one that made the decision. But I was upfront with you as to my evaluation, and that's why.
Now, are you like Amy? I've got two questions there. Amy says, always have a paper trail. Don't tell them that over the phone, or if you do, send a follow-up. Because they might come back to you and say, Ernie, with this person, to a month later, this guy's a jerk, and you say, I warned you. And, that has evaporated from the client's mind that you actually warned them.
I don't like putting paper trails because all that can come bite you in the ass. Just don't put anything like that nowhere.
Okay, hers is different as well because she's inside a company.
Yeah, she knows the people and she's talking to them, but she's the person I'm talking to, like an internal recruiter.
Yeah. Okay. Well, here's another question before I forget. What about this person? Is you do a pre-screen on the person, and she can see that she's got everything and she can contribute a lot and take this project or whatever they want to hire her for, that position. She could do a lot for the company. But you tell the company that she's a difficult person. At least that's how you experience her or him. And they say, no, you know what? We'll take a pass. What are you going to say to her?
They decided to take a pass on you. They looked at your background. Thank you.
But Ernie, why would they take a pass? I mean, it's obvious that I'm a great fit for this job.
Every company has their criteria. My job is to present you. Your job is the company.
So you're telling me you don't know why they ruled me out?
Nope. I'm telling you, I don't know why. They make a decision.
Oh, wow. Okay.
All right. Thank you very much. I enjoyed talking to you. And if something else comes out in the future, I'll get back to you. Thank you.
Really? Wow. And then if they get abusive, you just say, look.
Love you very much. Got to go. Bye.
Love ya. Okay. Sasha or Ivan, you want to ask Ernie any questions about that? Because I'm liking talking to him about it. Okay.
You actually say love you very much, or like this is actual language you use?
No, but that's the attitude I have. I mean, you don't get all emotional, you get all crazy. You just say, I enjoyed talking to you. We look forward to working with you in the future. If something comes up, we will contact you. Thank you. You got any questions? Give us a call.
And you don't feel uncomfortable about that? You don't feel you're in an awkward position?
I never feel like I'm in an awkward position because I have no control over it.
Okay, because everybody's always talking about transparency, and other people, the obvious answer is, some people, especially if they're reactive, they can't handle Jack Nicholson. They can't handle the transparency.
As you look at things, people talk about being transparent or whatever. Nobody's transparent. That's bullshit. People tell you what they want to tell you, and your job is to present candidates and not create any legal problems for anybody involved. When you're in HR, your job is to keep the corporation out of court. That's your job. And I tell you that because I was VP of HR and that was my job. So you try to figure things out, smooth them out before shit happens, and you go from there. Okay,
so when people, this is a big deal all the time about feedback from candidates who strike out. They're hungry to know how they can improve themselves, their presentation at the next job, or get some. So you never, would it be true to say you never give feedback about a rejected candidate?
So if it's work related, yeah, I'll give them that. You didn't have enough experience. They were looking for somebody that had experience with 200 suppliers. You only have experience with 2 suppliers. You try to knock down the qualifications. But when it comes down to personality, you kind of can't really talk because you don't really know what their personality is, what they want. But even underlying that, given what they're looking for, they may not want a certain segment, a certain whatever, but you're not going to go there. And there are companies that I know that they tell me that, they don't want this kind of person or that kind of person, and they don't want a loudmouth. They don't want, whatever. They don't want old people. They don't want young people. And
Well, don't
then
put
you
yourself,
just,
you shouldn't have said that, okay?
no,
Because
no, 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 no,
that
no,
puts you
no,
in a
no,
bad
no.
position.
No, but I'm
Okay,
telling you,
loudmouth is okay.
no, but what I'm telling you is the truth. And what you got, it's like living your life. If you know you go into a certain bar, you may get your ass kicked. If you know that, and if you don't know that, then you're going to get your ass kicked. So you got to be smart about what you're doing and who you're talking to, and working with the right companies. Those companies that have given me stuff like that, I get rid of them.
Okay.
I don't want those.
But what Ernie's saying, everybody, which I think is a commonplace truth, you can't be 100% transparent. It just is not real world. Okay. And I wish there were people here who would try to take us to task for that. Okay.
Look at what the job is. Your job is to make placements. Your job isn't to be the counselor. Your job isn't to be the HR person. You're not that anymore. Your job is to make placements that will result in you continuing with the company being happy, you being happy because you made money, them being happy because they filled a slot. That's what it amounts to.
I remember seeing recently, I read all these discussions on Facebook. That's why I'm bringing them up, but they're real recruiters talking. And this one recruiter was going on, yeah, the client pays me, but my number one client in my heart or in reality is the candidate. The candidate has to be, if you're going to do a good job as a recruiter, the candidate has to be number one. And you're saying that's not true, Ernie, right?
Well, what I'm saying is, if the client pays you, yes, but you have to,
you can't be the coach for the candidate. You're not the coach. You're not their mom. You're not their confessor or whatever else.
You're working for the company.
Okay.
Your job is to fill a position. You try to find the right person for that position. If I'm looking for a QA manager, I can go to LinkedIn and pull up 1,000 QA managers. I got to find the right one.
Okay. So you know what? I'll just go. It's 1 o'clock. I wish I would have. I wish I would have just kept Ernie. Started interviewing Ernie as soon as he came on, because he's more interesting than me and more interesting than some of the stuff that I've collected. But I'll put something just we were talking about personalities, and this is something I'd like to talk about. There was I saw a personality checklist from one of these articles my friend sent me, and I made it into a list. And there's some really good stuff that you want to know. And I had to ask myself, how do you figure this stuff out? You're not giving them a personality assessment. You're just talking to them. How can you figure out what they're like? Now, you can get a vibe like we were talking about. This person is high maintenance or maybe emotionally reactive, and it's not going to be a no drama type. So that's something I'd like to talk about next time, unless you have some personality assessment.
I'm just going to say it comes with experience and talking with people and understanding, not just candidates, but your friends and everybody. You know your friends who are drama, and your friends who you can tell anything to.
Your relatives who are high drama as well.
Yeah.
But do you remember one time, then I'll ask you a behavioral question. Do you remember at least one time where you went, I remember one where you went to the client and said, she's very good, but I don't think you should hire her because of these personality issues. I remember doing it myself. They didn't listen to me. What about you?
No, I've done that. I said, I wouldn't recommend you hire her, but it's your call.
What did she do that made you say that?
Usually it's usually because they don't follow up. Send me your email, send me your resume, and they don't do that. Or they tell you they're going to call you at a certain time, and you start talking to them, or they don't answer a question. In terms of when they answer a question, they go on forever. And then you try to coach them to say, keep it short, let's go. And they keep going on forever. And just things like that you just have this gut feeling that it's not going to be a right fit. But that also comes with knowing your client very well. But what you want to do is make sure that your client understands that you're looking out for them.
Okay. Foodindustryrecruiter.com. Thank you, Ernie, for coming. I'm glad you're back.
Thank
Sasha, Sasha, our beach girl, you got the blonde hair,
That's right.
the shoulders today, and Ivan up in the ether, clang.so. Thanks. I had a great time.
Thank you.
See you,
Bye-bye.
everybody.
Bye-bye, Sash.
Bye-bye.